Alright, beautiful Tuesday morning. A little brisk and cold, but I am headed eastbound out of Fort Walton Beach. Riding over 450 miles to get to Keystone Heights for the 2022 Polar Bear Adventure Bike Rally. Headed out towards the road. I'll enter onto Eglin Air Force Base here shortly. And I will check in periodically, give you some updates as to how today's track is going. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Almost thought I'd have to cancel it after a fortunately minor bout with COVID this past week. Very grateful that it was as minor as it was. Alright, this is my exit off of the highway for a while, and that's a good thing. We are on to our first dirt of the trip. This section on Eglin Air Force Base is very highly maintained roads, so it's very well packed. Sometimes in some of the lower areas a little bit of looser sand, but for the most part it's pretty easy going. Even when big trucks pull out in front of you. So I've got a few miles of this to cover before we'll get off of Eglin Reservation and out into the eastern part of Okaloosa County, working our way into Walton County, eventually up south of Defuniak Springs and south of can't think of the next town east of there right now. Beautiful day, just a little chilly. I had a little bit of my hands were getting cold. Doubled up on the gloves, put my rain liners over the top, and a little bit better, but we're in the mid 30s right now. Supposed to get up in the 50s today. The rest of the week won't be as cold where I'm headed, and that's a good thing. Well, I had a little bit of a delay when I stopped to put on some extra layers of clothing. I couldn't get the bike restarted. Apparently the carburetor got a bit flooded after sitting there for a while, fearful I was going to have to abort the trip. I was finally able to get the bike running again, so I will certainly have to keep an eye on that as we progress. Hopefully no more issues with it, and that's the one hiccup for this trip. Done early, but it definitely has put me a little behind schedule. Not sure if I'll get as far today as I had hoped I would get. Anyway, I am continuing on through Eglin Air Force Base Reservation. I'm now up in the Choctaw North area, headed towards south of Defuniak Springs, and then on beyond that. So just wanted to give a little update as to the drama of the trip so far. Other than that, I feel warmer now. Not only has the day warmed up a bit, but having the extra layer on is definitely helping. I should have started out with that on. So we continue our progress. This has been a neat little section riding through that's on the east side of 331, heading over towards the that next east north-south highway. I can't think of the highway number right now, but I'm coming up on it. 81. And then I'll be going past the Morrison Springs area and then headed up north of I-10, where I'll stay north of I-10 until I get to Marianna, or just past Marianna, that is. So I got north of I-10, traveled a little bit on US 90 into Caryville, over the Choctawhatchee River, which is certainly an obstacle that is hard to get around. That was why I was going to have to either go all the way south to 20, which didn't give me many other options as I worked further east, or come up north of I-10 and get over the river there on US 90. And now I found some dirt roads that I'd scouted out, and so far it's looking good. I've only had to outrun a couple dogs. They're all well intended, defending their property. I've had a few cows stare at me. That's always fun. And we are continuing east towards Bonifay. Alright, after some lunch at Marianna, I am back on the trail and actually about to get on the actual Southeast Adventure Trail as laid out by Northern Traveler on Adventure Rider. And I'll be following his track for the next day and a half, I guess you could say, over to Ocean Pond near Lake City, where I will depart from it and head on down to Keystone Heights. So I'm not exactly sure what intersection where I overlaid my track onto his, but I think I'm probably on it at this point. So we'll be, for the most part, southbound now, headed down towards Bluntstown, and that's where we'll cross over the Chattahoochee River that divides central and eastern time zones. And then we'll be into the forest there, the Apalachicola Forest. So the sky is never quite cleared like I'd hoped it would, but at least it's not raining, and that's a good thing. Very little chance of any rain for the next couple of days at least. They are expecting another cold front to push through this area on Thursday, but I'll be well to the east, and there's not any rain, or very little rain forecast in the area where I will be by that time. as I've moved south of Mariana, you can definitely see the impacts from Hurricane Michael from a couple years ago. Look at that. All that just been left there to rot. Now in the Apalachicola Forest. Got off the highway that comes out of Bristol. That's the town you go through after you cross the river coming out of Buntstown. First camping option is right up here on the right, called Camel Lake Campground. But I've got about an hour and a half of light left. Of course, these shadows are just going to get more and more, but at least the sun's behind me. To get to Porter Lake Campground, which I would prefer. One, it's a free campground. Two, it's just that much closer to Ocean Pond for tomorrow. Since I had a little bit of a stunted start this morning, it would be nice to still get where I had originally planned to try to get to, even if I was hoping to maybe get all the way to Newport over near Crawfordville, St. Mark's area, southeast of Tallahassee. But Camel Lake was at least the minimum I'd hoped to get to today. Yeah, I decided I could press on past Camel Lake and make it at least to Porter Lake. 65 more miles if I wanted to go all the way to Newport. I don't think I can get there before dark. But unless I run into some really bad road conditions or a lot of water crossings that I have to be cautious of, I think getting to Porter Lake is very doable. I've ridden through a number of these paved roads through the Apalachicola Forest and crossed over some of these intersections with some of the roads I'm going to be riding ahead of me here, so I've been looking forward to this. So one of the challenges is not to allow yourself to feel pushed to make a destination, but to enjoy the journey to that destination. If it's dark when I get there, it's alright. I got a headlamp. I've set up in the dark before. I can do it again. But just enjoy riding through here. It's cool but not cold. It's dry and not wet. Praise God, that's all good stuff. The only unknown I have in my mind about Porter Lake is how many hunters might be camped there, and if there's some noisy generators, because it's a small area, it'd be hard to get very far away from them, and I'd rather not listen to a generator or multiple generators all night. But I think I missed my turn back there. I did. Whew. I don't think there's anybody behind me, but that sun is right there. Nice. This is one of the roads I like. Here's some sand, not bad. Yeah, you could tell if that had been, if there had been a lot of rain, that would have been a couple big puddles. So you ride almost all day to get to a few miles of roads like this. Yeah, it's worth it. Sun, come on, take me back to the east. So far, these roads are awesome. A little bumpy in places, a few ruts to bounce over. Like right there, or avoid. But even with the cold front and all the rain that pushed through here a couple days ago, which they may not have gotten that much down here, I'm not sure, it may have been mostly north. Very little mud or standing water to worry about. Able to keep a pretty nice pace up for a forest road. coming up on one of these highways, or the paved roads through here that I've traveled on my street bike. Somebody took a little target practice on that poor stop sign. Alright, people parked up here where I'm wanting to turn right. I don't know why. Maybe just coincidence. Just over the bridge is where I'm going now. Yeah, they're stopped on the bridge. Fishing. I just came through the majority of the forest and coming up on the Porter Lake campground, which is just short of crossing over the, I think, Chattahoochee River. And I get these Indian river names mixed up. So there's a few. Not bad. How you doing? How's the hunting been? Doing good? Cool.